Hi, thanks for stopping by. It's going to be a busy day in Norka today, and I simply cannot finish my job without audience participation from you. Now, Norka is a trippy little place in Neo, and Neo has a nutty reputation all on its own. But we are going to do the impossible today, and if Walt Disney was here, he would tell you doing the impossible is pretty cool. But this nutjob hails from a real Bedford Falls just northwest of Norka. And so, we are going to do the impossible with some devil's dust and some Christmas magic too. We don't get days like this in Norka too often. We may be cast into being slaves and peons, but everybody is an individual. We all have to make our own way. We all have a job to do, desires to fulfill, and life to live. So just like you, Hercules, Cinderella, George Bailey, Odysseus, Hades, sometimes we get stuck with some pretty crappy jobs to do in some pretty awful places. We all hope for, wish for, or give up on divine intervention, virtues, and human goodness at some point. But if fate has burdened us with a very hard or vile job to do, then they have earned their mythological reputation and must think that we are the ones capable enough to getting it fucking done. You may not believe there is a Santa Claus, and yet there really is. You will 100% know for sure there is a Satan Claus, and yet there really isn't. Norka is a trippy little autistic place exactly like Ithaca on the very eerie and fatal shores of Never Never Land and Destroy, as that nitwit Penelope calls it. But for real and for true, you can build an eternal arc in Norka that can take you from the dust and ashes of death all the way to infinity and beyond, and to be honest, there is no better Christmas present than that. I am here today to prove God, eternity, aliens, the heavens and hell are a reality, and I am here to teach you what quantum physics and deathless gods are all about. I'm going to make all that mythological science as simple as a box of rocks to understand. If you do not succeed this place, it won't be because of your God. It will be your own fault. For as many people that do believe there is a God, there are just as many who do not. That's called individuality and freedom, and you should be glad if you have a little bit of both. If I walked up to you on the street and said, "Hi, I built this place just for you. I hope you learned something here. I hope you enjoy your stay here, and I hope that you leave here a happy camper." It could be the absolute God-honest truth, and yet there is not one person that would truly believe me and say thanks. Every one of you would walk away thinking that guy is out there, a real crackpot, a total nutjob. And yet, truth be known, 9 out of 10 of you things down here will never earn intelligence, learn humility, and will never ever leave here. Me telling you I built this place is only the tip of the iceberg. You believing me would be like fighting a 5-sided war and winning. If Charlie Brown and Jonah both know there really is a great pumpkin, how hard can it really be to understand? The gods are the gods because they earn their reputation and fulfill their roles. I am going to slay the Python and the Pretenders, make Ithaca a modern-day reality, and I'm going to save the free western sky and heavens too. Fucking try to stop me if you can. Time to kill some lies. Eternal Aliens 101. The difference between life and death is energy. For a being to exist, it needs energy. If there is no energy, there is no life. That is an indubitable truth. Logos is really big on indubitable facts and heroic acts. All energy needs to be generated. That implies a generator. What do you think, Rene Descartes? 2 indubitable facts. Not bad for one little golden paragraph in history. I don't think the Pretenders stand much of a chance. Logos is a term given to the universal or esoteric knowledge, the knowledge of all there is. Well, this 3-headed dog from 300 BC perfectly explained the generator of all power and knowledge. Socrates, Plato, and Ghost Rider spirit named Homer are responsible for the most perfect definition of God and life ever. Their indubitable truth cannot be beat by any titan, giant, monster, or king. Logos, the knowledge of all there is, goes hand in hand with the generator of all there is, and they termed this all-knowing, all-powerful being the prime mover. The prime mover flows through the entire quantum fabric of life, energizes all dimensions, and everybody with a soul has a little piece of eternal energy already inside them. The human body is inanimate without a prime mover. In your body, your soul is the prime mover. Your soul can connect to the prime mover if you have a simple little thing called a mighty conscience. Your conscience is your mortal mineral connection to our eternal alien science. Can't really make your connection to our science any easier, cornier, or cheesier than a conscience. Anybody with a spirited conscience and soul already knows that Logos and the Prime Mover are the celestial embodiments of all ethical, rational, virtuous concepts ever created, and it is the Prime Mover's job to generate and protect them wherever and forever. Your cults, sects, and leagues make God classically and biblically sick to death. Your Jews, Muslims, homopedophile, demonic popes, and priests are the total opposite of an image, concept, or reality of God. All of mankind's demonic cults, sects, and leagues use the Lord's name in vain for their own gain. Mankind and their kings are the enemy of God. Hey, Homer will be glad to tell you how that battle between mankind and the gods ends, but I think you're about to experience that poetic scenario. The gods have to keep their word so that the world knows there really is a God for real. Intelligence, virtues, and justice for sure live elsewhere, but they do stop in and do their job from time to time. If Hercules was real, he would tell you that I do get those golden apples at harvest time. That's not a lie. The ends of the earth is not a geographical place, and the ends of the earth comes around more times than you would care to know. If the Prime Mover was just an all-powerful inanimate mechanism and not an eternal being with feeling and meaning, I don't think it would have created such a grandiose, goofy garden with such high-ass, nutty poetry. The bio, as in Bible, Iliad, and Odyssey, are the three stories in the Ark of Knowing, or Noah's Ark. No difference between Noah's Ark and Odysseus' multicolored bow. Telling you I built this place is one thing, telling you it's not even real is another. Telling you that you wouldn't know the difference between living life or life after death, if you were living it, are three indubitable lightning bolts and dings I hope your little mortal gourd can grasp, handle, and use. Your soul is the most real of anything here, and everything down here came from once upon a time, somewhere else in generation and time. Giordano Bruno told the pedophile pope back in the 1600s that God had shown him that there is dimension upon dimension upon dimension, full of life all around us. For that indubitable God-given inspiration, the pope locked him away in solitary confinement and starved the guy for 8 fucking years. When he wouldn't recant what God had shown him, the demonic sick-ass pope dragged him out into public and burned him alive. They didn't burn Galileo alive, but they locked him away for telling the world that the earth revolves around the sun. It's not the other way around as the church was preaching. The Pope and King doesn't know fucking shit about God, but he knows how to extort the living fuck out of you every day that you are alive. If you think Logos doesn't kill lies and ignorance for fun and sport, you need to go read the Bible, Iliad, and Odyssey. When Revelations of the Bible tells you that these people and this evil family are dung for the earth, that's a nutty, crackpot, nitwit, out there kind of way to tell the world that specific people are really walking, talking pieces of shit that will 100% metamorph into a piece of simple mineral schist that will settle and remain here forever. If there was no eternal energy or presence at work here, your planet wouldn't have that little blue line around it, and your rock would be like the rest of the lifeless rocks, ash, and dust floating out in the galaxy. You are planted in death, floating in death, and fueled by radiant disintegration. You being truly alive in a dimension of dust, death, and disintegration is a piece of irrational pie. God being a reality is a piece of irrational pie. God putting honey in the trunk of the oak tree for real is a piece of autistic, irrational, high-in-the-sky, God-given golden apple pie. But the truth is, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Galileo, Bruno, Homer, Virgil, Hesiod, Democritus, Euclid, Tesla, Einstein, Maxwell, and Descartes all go by one name today because they really did know God and what they were talking about yesterday. The quantum fabric of life is just like any fabric. It is a reality, and yet it contains a whole bunch of little holes which are not. The reality of your God's job is to drag a piece of cheesecloth through a dimension of death to see if any good trash got left behind. You should be damn glad God is an adamant and merciful nut, capable of enduring that horrible and horrendous fate for real. If you knew God, you would know Satan and Hades are the two unluckiest gods and men alive, but even the low-life, odious gods have to be virtuous and honest characters. Nothing wrong with telling you what happens when Odysseus arrives ahead of time. Hercules and Odysseus will both tell you that killing lies, pretenders, and vile, slimy, sophisticate shit isn't a glamorous job, but it's a prerequisite fact and heroic act on how a mortal soul gets its ass and soul over the rainbow where the western sky lives and freedom and intelligence flows. Indubitable fact number 3, it takes both God and man to kill evil, and Lord knows that you are not up to the task. Homer wrote some high-ass nutty golden poetry, but he didn't lie. All of you piece of shit pretenders are about to die. If you want to find a use, learn how to grasp and handle the truth. Killing dysfunction, arrogance, ignorance, violence, corruption, and lies is the same thing as killing the python, which is the biblical, ancient, and honorable men and prophet which speaketh lies. Intelligence, virtues, courage, and God may be dead in you, but they are alive, kicking ass and naming names in Norka, and anybody who thinks God is dead and gone is seriously mistaken on that equation. We don't make gods until we kill liars and pretenders. We make very few gods. We make some awesome people, and we make enough dust and ash to fill up a galaxy. Choice is good, right up to the point that you realize you have for sure made the wrong one. If the alien, the dead, and insane produced a child, I am sure it would be irrational and nutty as hell, at best. Art is the grandchild of the gods. Welcome to Norka, that place in the twilight zone of Cleave and Believe Land where eternity lives and mankind has no choice but to either do or die.